future of martial arts takes center stage tonight as the top youth performers on the globe face off in the hopes of securing a Forms World Championship. It's an imaginary battle against numerous opponents, but the key to victory is making the judges see the enemy reflected in the competitors' eyes. Others will add a wrinkle to that equation in the team forms. The goal is to move the group as one. Welcome to the U.S. Open Martial Arts World Championships, coming to you from the Radisson Twin Towers Convention Center in Orlando, Florida. Hello, everybody. I'm Lon McCarran, pleased to be working alongside Mike Sawyer as usual. Tonight, 3 separate World Championships in Forms competition will be handed out, one each in youth weapons, youth empty hands, and team synchronized competition. Mike?
Tonight, the competitors include the fantastic Jimmy Pham, John Su, empty-handed forms and weapons forms by these young competitors. We also have adult synchronized forms where we have 1 or more competitors working in tandem or triplicate or even 4 at a time in team forms competition.
All right, Mike, the U.S. Open World Martial Arts Championships brought to you by Paul Mitchell Hair Products. It's all about a great cut, and Paul Mitchell gives it its style. Ready to begin competition, individual empty hands forms competition, opening up with John Su, 17 years old, from Glendova, California. Like many young practitioners, John has discovered that martial arts enriches all facets of his life.
The forms and martial arts and everything has given me a lot throughout the years. Starting at the age of 4, I really kind of learned a lot of discipline, self-control and things, and by doing especially the forms, I've learned it's given me a lot more discipline to stay focused on what I'm doing at the time. I remember my dad used to take me in the backyard and say, okay, I want you to do all your forms. So I say, okay. I'm standing there, then he'll leave me. So as like 7 years old, I have to sit out there and practice my forms. I felt that was tough. So that's taught me how to stay a little bit more focused, moving over into schoolwork and doing my homework and things.
Now, this form John Su is performing is a old Japanese Okinawan form. He's doing it in a traditional fashion. This is an added John Su move here at the beginning, showing his flexibility. Then he'll go into the traditional form titled Kankudai.
Look at that balance.
Each of these moves designed to demonstrate expertise in offensive and defensive karate moves.
The screams are used to focus themselves as well, aren't they?
Brings internal energy into the mix. And this form is a very old form, consistent among the Japanese and Okinawan styles of martial arts, rumored to have been developed in the 17th or 18th century by a Chinese immigrant to the Okinawan Islands. It's practiced to develop concentration, muscular energy, and internal strength among the students.
The old masters have to smile when they see John Su. I'm sure they appreciate a young student of martial arts using this old traditional form. We see a lot of contemporary forms being used in these competitions, but to see a man like John Su keep the past alive has to be very, very encouraging to them.
For the form to have been developed to this point at just the age of 17, it's amazing and a real statement to his dedication, perfecting both his art and this particular form.
17-year-old John Su in front of a very appreciative crowd here in Orlando, Florida. Finishes off his traditional form. Still focused on his task even as he finishes. With a score of 49.90 from the 5 judges, John Sue has set the bar now for the rest of the competitors to try to overtake. The first one to try, 15-year-old Butch Marks, already one of the young legends in martial arts forms competition from Arden, North Carolina.
This will be a contemporary form performed by Butch Marks. He's got music along with the form. He's taken traditional moves and developed this form himself just for competition. He calls it explosion.
In 1997, this young man collected more points in empty hands forms competition than anybody else in youth forms. He's following up very nicely here in 1998.
Very good spin moves by Butch Marks. A little shaky on that landing. He'll lose a few tenths of a point for that mistake. Very nice on the back flips and recovery.
Great height from Butch Marks.
Oh, nice overhead mule kick, we call that.
Butch Marks, 15 years old. Lights up this crowd, the convention center.
Okay, on this tumble, you can see the way he comes out of the back flip, immediately changes his focus to the opponent in front with the knife hand block.
49.91 for Butch Marks, overtakes John Sue, and now Butch Marks is in the lead. More to come from Orlando, including one of the young guns of this sport, San Jose's own Jimmy Pham. Stay with us. Welcome back to Orlando. One of the young stars, Jimmy Pham, is up next, 16 years old, from San Jose, California. We talked to him about the basic premise behind the forms competition.
These forms were created as a sort of a preset battle almost. So you have imaginary opponents and you're just doing your form as if you were fighting these different opponents. And it's not really the same thing. All you're doing is you're fighting somebody with your hands and your legs and your forms, and you're doing the same thing with weapons. You're fighting somebody except you have weapons in your hand. Same concept, just different techniques.
In 1997, this man, Jimmy Pham, was second in overall points in this competition to Butch Marks. Butch Marks now has the lead in this competition.
Jimmy Pham certainly the favorite here, though. This form he's developed for his competition this year. Musical form, he's put it together with a lot of difficult techniques. He calls it grease light. Great move by Jimmy, coming out of the reverse tornado into a full split.
Very different from the traditional forms we saw from John Sue to open up tonight's competition.
A lot of difficulty factor in this form. Jimmy Pham pulling out all the stops, taking a lot of risks.
Much to the delight of this crowd, Jimmy Pham with a fine performance.
What a performance by Jimmy Pham. Difficult to find any mistakes, certainly no major ones. You can see how focused Jimmy Pham is on every technique in this form. Very difficult ones. That walkover kick, back to the knife hand strikes. His eyes, his entire body focused into every move on the imaginary opponents.
And with a score of 49.95, Jimmy Pham overtakes Butch Marks, and he does win the youth forms competition here in Orlando. John Sue, with a very traditional forms, comes in third place. The third member of our broadcast team is Mike McCoy. 3 times in a row, he was the top-rated forms competitor in the nation. Mike is with Jimmy Pham.
So, Grease Light, that's a new song for you. When did you come up with that?
Yeah, well, when I first got the idea, the movie was about to be re-released. So I figured I like performing in front of the crowd, and I figured this is something they would like.
Did you make up a new form just for that song?
Yeah, you need to. I wanted to create a form to each beat. I want to end where the music ended, and I usually do that with all my songs.
Now, there's some new moves in there that I haven't seen before.
New to some people. I like playing challenging things in my form. That's what gets the crowd pumped. That's what the judges like. So.
Well, certainly for the veteran competitors out there, they're always looking for something new, and I guess from you, it's just a regular thing.
Yeah, we look to a lot of different sources. I mean, ice skating for our spins, gymnastics for our tumbling. I mean, we look to a lot of different sources to make our form the best it could be.
Okay, final question. How many U.S. Open Grand Championships is for you?
Oh, man, one too many. I'm so blessed with being so, I don't know. I don't know.
People in Florida love you, Jimmy.
I hope so.
I just know the adults are not waiting for the day you turn 18.
I'm not either. I'm having so much fun as a
Thank you
junior
very
right
much.
now.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Congratulations to Jimmy Pham. We will see him returning to competition in the weapons forms. Welcome back to Orlando, Florida. Lon McCarron and Mike Sawyer. Time now for the Youth Weapons Forms Championship competition. This is Mark Odell to start us off, 15 years old, from Marysville, Michigan, with the bow staff.
This is a musical form Mark put together for this year of competition. That bow staff, you can see he's striking with both ends of it. Blocks are done with the middle of the bow. These are all executed against, of course, imaginary opponents, some of which are empty-handed and some of which have weapons of their own.
Mark is currently ranked #1 in the nation in weapons forms competition.
The weapons forms competitors will mix in some empty-handed moves, but they are judged primarily on what they do with the weapon.
So a fine performance from Mark Odell.
Nice use of the bow staff in this form. Combines spins, multi-directional strikes. He never lets the bow stay idle for very long. He's constantly moving it, going to different directions.
And the 5 judges now have their marks in for Mark Odell, a total of 49.92. And that will be the standard the other competitors must follow. Jimmy Pham, 16 years old. We just saw him win a grand championship in the empty hands forms competition. Now, with the weapons, he uses commas and going to the music from Pulp Fiction.
Much like in his empty-handed form, Jimmy Pham incorporating a lot of difficult body moves. Very high on the jump spin kick. Again, he's judged primarily on what he does with the weapon, but he's utilizing some nice hand switches with the comma, incorporating that well in with his kicks and empty-handed moves.
Jimmy Pham with a fine performance now back in the weapons competition. He knows how to light a fire under a crowd.
He does. Very impressive by Jimmy Pham. A lot of passion in that form as well as technical excellence. Nice height on these kicks. The walkover, again, 2 in a row. Very difficult to execute with good foot position coming off of it.
He must beat a score of 49.92. And the marks are up. Jimmy Pham, a 2-time winner with a score of 49.95, winning the Youth Weapons Forms. A great night for this San Jose resident. Mark Odell is second. Matt Pomisky is in 3rd place. And our own Mike McCoy is once again with Jimmy Pham.
So your 2nd grand championship in one night. How do you feel?
I feel relieved. I mean, I came here to compete, and I felt really good with my performances. I'm just glad it's over with.
How do you do some of those aerial techniques? I mean, is that just natural for you?
No, it takes a lot of hard work. A lot of days, hours spending in the martial arts gym, just doing it over and over again. A lot of perseverance, lots of persistence.
Well, congratulations. It definitely paid off.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCoy. Thank you.
Coming up next, we move into the team synchronized competition. Come on back to Orlando. Welcome back to Orlando, Florida, and the Radisson Twin Towers. Ready now for the team forms competition. Up to this point, we have just witnessed individuals, and now the added difficulty of synchronizing your movements with a teammate. We begin with Team Okinawa, Suzanne K. Wankett, and her partner, Gary Carr. Much like we saw with John Su in the individual competition, a very traditional form here from these two, and a very noisy form.
This form known as Seiyunchin, again, a very old Japanese Okinawan form. You hear a lot of verbalizing during this form, both in the breathing techniques, showing the coordination of internal energy, external muscular control. The loud yells have a dual purpose. Focuses internal energy, startles the opponent at the same time. I love their synchronization in this form line. They obviously work together a great deal, a lot of rehearsal, and they compete at least 2 weekends a month doing exactly what they're doing right now.
I bet they have no trouble getting a waiter's attention in the crowded restaurants.
You could bet on that. They live in different parts of the country. Gary Card from Boston, Suzanne Wankett from Minnesota. But as I said, they meet on the tournament circuit several weekends a month. They rehearse the night before the competition. They compete regularly.
It has to be part of the joy of the circuit also, seeing the same people over and over, particularly when you partner up with someone like that.
Very close group among these top competitors. Seem to be slowing just a little here near the end of the form.
Team Okinawa, Suzanne K. Wankett and Gary Card open up our performances in the team forms competition. Very traditional.
Nice synchronization on the side kick followed by the elbow strike. See the head turn to the right, back to the left. Those kind of details build up a lot of points for the judges.
And a total score of 49.93 out of the gate. And so they do set the bar at a very high mark in this team competition. Paul Mitchell has been a strong supporter of martial arts for many years. As the attention to martial arts competition has grown, so too has Team Paul Mitchell's commitment to supporting the finest athletes in the sport. But it takes more than pure talent to become a member of this elite team.
We really are trendsetters. You know, I guess to be on the Paul Mitchell team, you have to have be one of the best people as it is anyways, but not just martial arts wise. You got to have good character, and you got to be a real good person. I mean, I think we look at that first, and then we look at their martial arts ability, and then, you know, see if that gels and so forth. But anybody that's going to get on the Paul Mitchell team has to have those ingredients, otherwise they wouldn't stand a chance of being on it. You know.
The team title is still up for grabs. 2 more teams to come. Stay with us. The U.S. Open World Martial Arts Championships are being brought to you by Paul Mitchell Hair Products. It's all about a great cut, and Paul Mitchell gives it its style. Continuing now in the team competition with, indeed, Team Paul Mitchell. Cheech Luzzi on the left, Jason Gabriel on the right with an oar form.
Don't see many forms utilizing the oar, although it is considered a traditional Okinawan weapon. Cheech Luzzi on the left, one of the senior members of the Paul Mitchell team, been with it for its entire 10-year tenure. He and Jason Gabriel developed this form together strictly for these competitions.
Do the judges like uniqueness?
They do, and this form certainly unique. Excellent synchronization there on the one-hand hold out to the right. Earlier in the form, it seemed Jason Gabriel was a little behind Cheech, but now it seems he's caught up and he's right on time. A little behind there. Very nicely done. Difficult to stay synchronized like this without music.
Cheech Luzzi, Jason Gabriel, and Team Paul Mitchell vying for the Team Forms Competition Championship. They must be 49.93. Take a look at some of their moves from their routine.
You see how Jason Gabriel is a little behind Cheech Luzzi right here. And Cheech is sort of the trendsetter with these type of forms. Jason Gabriel catching up with him.
And I think the judges saw that, a mark of 49.90, second place after 2 competitors. We move on now to Team Charlie Lee Karate and Nunchucks David Moss and his partner Gemma Nguyen.
This has been one of the most popular duos on the circuit this year. Trained by former champion Charlie Lee. Very well put together form.
Oh, an explosive move to start off from David Moss. Backflip right over the top of Jenna.
Good synchronization here on the double nunchaku moves. This form has individual moves as well, though. Jenna is taking center stage now, showing off her flexibility.
And balance. Look at the height on that. She is a fireball. And her partner can match her move for move, I think. Another flip over his partner. They are not at a loss for personality.
A lot of poise by a youngster that age. Again, good synchronization with the moves, and they're not keying on the music either. They're keying on each other, and that's much more difficult.
Team Charlie Lee Karate at center stage here in Orlando. Again with terrific balance, Gemma Nguyen.
Great closing move by this duo.
And they'll milk it for all it is worth. David Moss and Gemma Nguyen bring the crowd to their feet.
Very appealing form, a lot of passion. Great technical expertise as well. They both are very talented. I love their synchronization here. They don't do exactly the same move all the time, but the moves they do are synchronized well, so they are aesthetically pleasing and very well executed technically.
They need a score of 49.94 to win. We know the crowd loved this routine. Did the judges? Yes, they did. 49.95. Team Charlie Lee Karate comes away with the Team Forms Championship. Okinawa and Sidekick share second place, and Team Paul Mitchell comes in fourth. An exciting night of martial arts from Orlando, Florida, thanks to the Radisson Twin Towers. Jimmy Pham, 2 grand championship titles tonight. He is truly one of the elite. For Mike McCoy and Mike Sawyer, I'm Lon McCarron. So long from Orlando. We all fight an enemy within, in some form or another. But in martial arts forms competition, competitors must allow that enemy to be released. They must believe them to be a real threat. In forms, the choreography is designed to vanquish the foe, underscore the high degree of martial arts expertise each brings to the mat. Slay the demons, take home the top prize. This is the 1998 U.S. Open National Martial Arts World Championships, coming to you from the Radisson Twin Towers Convention Center in Orlando, Florida. Hello, everybody. I'm Lon McCarron, along with Mike Sawyer. Tonight, you will see some of the world's finest martial artists as we present the men's and women's forms competition with a world championship on the line in each.
Lon, world championships in men's and women's forms competition. It's much like floor exercise in gymnastics or in figure skating. They'll be judged on the creativity and the technical excellence of their techniques. Also tonight, we have a demonstration by the incomparable Niseido Jiu-Jitsu team, Lon.
The 1998 U.S. Open World Martial Arts Championships are being brought to you by Paul Mitchell Hair Products. Paul Mitchell, available at salons. Ask your hairstylist. The Women's Forms Championships now ready to get going with Suzanne K. Wankett from Richfield, Minnesota, 31 years old, a very intense competitor.
Traditional form, no music. Modified version of a form called Gopai Sho, means little dragon in Okinawan. Music is only used in the contemporary forms. Traditionally, no music. In these type of competitions, the traditional and contemporary forms are judged together.
Suzanne was the 1997 overall points leader in women's forms. And she shows why with her performance here to open up our show from Orlando, Florida. Very intense, very loud competitor.
Very strong form, Suzanne Wankett. She had her yells or ki-eyes in the right place. Strong hand moves.
A score of 49.90 to get us underway. A good score from Suzanne K. Wankett. Up next is Casey Marks, 18 years old. After competing for years in the youth competition, this is Casey's first foray into the adult category, but she's ready, willing, and able.
When you're doing a form of this caliber on this type of level of competition, you've got to be completely 100% into your form. And for me, it just comes naturally. I've been doing this is my 8th year competing, and it just, from the first tournament I went to, it's just come very naturally to me. And I feel very comfortable out there yelling and screaming.
And you can hear from the hoarse voice that she does a lot of that screaming, and she's ready to get underway now. Casey Marks from Asheville, North Carolina.
You can tell that Casey is a little hoarse. She's been through the eliminations earlier in the day on several forms already. Dominated the junior division the last 2 years. This is her first year as an adult, as we said, but she is coming off a grand championship win at the Bluegrass Nationals just a month ago, and that should help her confidence. Casey's a favorite with the Florida crowd. He's been at this tournament the last 5 years, 2 years with the Paul Mitchell team.
A great addition to that team as well.
So far, very effective interpretation of an old Okinawan form, unsu.
A lot of competitors using the music these days. You would have to think with a woman like Casey, it would just take away from her performance.
I think you're right. A lot of energy that would be drowned out by the music.
Casey Marks and a very appreciative crowd here in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, look at Casey's eyes here. She's so focused on those imaginary opponents.
Now the judge's decision on Casey Marks, 49.91. And she is the current leader in the women's forms competition. But we're not done. Catherine Miller will be up next. Stay with us. Back in Orlando, we continue the women's forms competition with 25-year-old Catherine Miller, Minneapolis, Minnesota. She must overtake Casey Marks if she hopes to get a grand championship tonight. Casey in with a score of 49.91.
This form by Catherine Miller is a little different. We'll see a contrast with what we've seen from Casey Marks and Suzanne Wankett. This is a Taekwondo or Korean origin form. A lot more high kicks, showing a lot of flexibility, a little more flamboyance.
Catherine has chosen music to drive her form through, add a little something to the performance.
Catherine's always been a strong performer on the circuit, has not taken the grand champion here at the U.S. Open before. Her coach, Larry Carnahan, believes this could be the year that she's ready.
And she is done. Catherine Miller from Minneapolis, the final competitor in the women's forms competition.
High spin and hook kick. We didn't see that in the Japanese Okinawan forms. The Korean forms, we do see it. It's a nice contrast. It's what Catherine Miller does best. It shows off her best to the judges.
Can she overtake Casey Marks? No, a total of 49.90. And so Casey Marks is your champion tonight in women's forms. And the third member of our crew, Mike McCoy, is with her right now.
So your third performance on stage tonight, you look stronger than ever. How'd you feel?
Tired, worn out. It's been a long day competing. We had forms and weapons this morning, then we had team demo practice for the camp chat demo, tied with John Valera, and then forms.
Well, you ended on a great note. That has got to make you feel good.
Yeah, it does. This is my first grand championship as an adult this year. And it was one of my favorite tournaments growing up because I won it 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row.
Oh, that's right. This is your rookie year as an adult, isn't it? Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.